Okay, my friends, you all ready for this? It is going to be something. Good to see everyone. Here we go. You guys ready for this marathon of what's going to be the next 3 or 4 days in Central Florida? Get prepared. We've got some impactful weather coming. As always, CFLW is sponsored by the Lien Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys, offering a free consultation and policy reviews that walk you through the insurance claim process. You can reach them out to them by going to lienonmelaw.com if you'd like more information. A lot going on right now, obviously. So let's set the scenario. Gonna go 6 bucks here to show you some of the impactful weather moving through Central Florida. Then we're going to discuss what's happening off of the West Coast and how it's going to cause a lot of issues for us over the next several days. So we've got plenty of cameras to monitor the situation. Tropical downpours developing across the area as we speak, as a potential area of tropical low pressure develops off of the west coast of Florida. The moisture is absolutely abundant in the atmosphere. It's like a wet sponge. We're going to be squeezing it out with a lot of lift, and just get prepared for potentially days of flooding and heavy rains. It's all going to depend on what happens with that low off of our west coast, but there is an opportunity here that, especially along the west coast, we could be inundated with some excessive rainfall. Now, again, it's an area that's been very dry, but this is a lot of areas that are likely to get too much rain in too short of amount of time. Live look outside to Winter Garden on the western side of Orange County. This is a very common scenario from Orange County all the way to portions of the west coast, including Pasco and Hernando and Pinellas counties. Again, a lot to get into. We're going to take our time. This is not going to be a quick stream. We are likely to be doing a lot of different streams over the next several days to get you guys prepared for what we're going to be experiencing. First of all, nice to see everyone. Let me break down what's going on in Central Florida right now. We do have a special weather statement that is in effect for the western side of Orange County and back into Lakeland. Now, because we are on the northeast side of this developing area of low pressure, that spin is counterclockwise, so everything right now is working west or northwest. So your storm development is building back to the east and to the southeast, and then everything is spinning counterclockwise here. A ton of lightning with this. I will say this, if you guys don't know, there was a massive data outage in the weather world about 48 hours ago. Still don't have my lightning data back, but you don't have to, again, see the lightning strikes to know there's a ton out there. So this special weather statement will go until 2:30 for portions of western Orange and Lake counties. Then we have a severe thunderstorm warning here up in Marion County. Here are the details on that. 3/4 inch size hail, 60-mile-an-hour winds, Santos, Bellevue, and Summerfield. They've extended just right now a larger special weather statement that will encompass places like Ocala. So a new special weather statement was just issued, as I zoomed into this, for Ocala, Silver Springs, places like that. The winds are going to be the biggest primary threat, guys. These storms are going to be moving fast. They're going to be producing winds of 50, 60 plus miles an hour. Now, that being said, there's obviously rotation within some of these storms. So a brief tornado or water spout is not out of the question. And then overall, the days of flooding rains will potentially be an issue as well. All right. In the western areas, it's just solid rainfall right now back into southern sides of Hernando County, Pasco County. We're looking from the Tampa radar, at least at this point in time, back into portions of northern and western portions of Hillsborough County and into Pinellas County as well. From the Tampa radar, we can see the developing area of low pressure off of the west coast, basically off of the Fort Myers coastline at this point in time. Let me I brought this up so you guys can see here. So from this developing center to the Fort Myers area, it's about 80 miles offshore. Now, the last 6 hours or so, if anything, this has been developing and pushing south and west. But ultimately, this developing system, whether it becomes a tropical area or not, is likely to turn either north or northwest and parallel the west coast, or push just offshore from the west coast, but potentially provide days of flooding rains across the peninsula of Florida and the opportunity for some severe storms. Regardless of development, it's likely going to stay a weak and wet system in our area. Now, the Hurricane Center continues to update the potential tropical area. If you guys tuned into my Media Mundo channel yesterday, I mentioned how a lot of the models, especially the European models that were much more robust with development, was pushing the developing low back north and west. And so, the Hurricane Center was much farther east with their eastern extent of potential development area. They have really shifted it west over the last 24 hours. And I agree with that based on the model trends. Again, for our area, it's likely to bring wet and stormy conditions through the weekend. And even if it were to strengthen, it's likely to be pulling away as it does so. So generally speaking, wet, sloppy system for us with the potential for some extreme heavy rainfall across portions of Central Florida. So again, we do have our live camera network for you guys. I'm going to swing those back into motion for you. The lightning is tremendous with this. Again, I'll keep checking from time to time if my lightning feed has returned, but we should expect there to be absolutely blinding rain with this. Live look outside to Winter Garden right now. You can clearly see the situation there. I mean, such a tropical, moisture-laden atmosphere where you're going to have reduced visibility. It's a Friday. Folks are at work, probably wanting to travel back home in the next hour or two. I got to tell you something. Anything from Metro Orlando and west is likely to be extremely wet, ponding on the roadways, and we're going to pick up a few inches of rain in a couple of hours in a couple of spots. So this is going to lead to, again, some flooding issues that will go just beyond your typical sea breeze storms. Again, likely these storms are going to produce rain on and off over the next 48 to 72 hours. So this is a much different scenario here. We really do have to get prepared for that situation. I'm taking it off their Noble Pills, doing it myself. All right. Let's take a look at some of our other cameras, by the way. I'm going to swing over here. That's our Conway cam. Watching a thundery Winter Garden. Appreciate that, Just Nautilus. That's our Conway cam at this point in time. Right? Again, low base to those clouds. A lot of SLCs out there as well. We're going to keep an eye on what's happening in Lake Buena Vista. We've got our Sand Lake cameras back up. Again, look at those low-hanging clouds moving into the area right now. Fast movement with all of this at this point in time. So you can see that swinging across the area here as we move through these afternoon hours. Hello from Marion County. I'm going to suspect we're going to get a lot of Rusty, it's raining cats and dogs in the area. And I hear that. I do. Likely that is going to be the case in many areas. All right, again, it's a marathon, not a sprint today, guys. Maybe the next couple of days as well. So on because the storms across Central Florida have really developed very quickly. They're producing extremely heavy rainfall, blinding rain, flooding rain is likely with this. We're going to get some hail as well. And again, right now we do have a special weather statement for Western Orange and into Lake counties. That's going to go for just the next few minutes. But this whole entire area is likely producing some extremely strong winds as well. Speaking of that, I'm going to bring on the wind gusts. Again, let me know what's happening in your area, where you're viewing from. You got a question about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comment section below as well. Let us clear that, please. Thank you very much. So you can clearly see embedded within our hefty line of storms from St. Petersburg, Hillsborough County, towards Zephyr Hills, 30, 35, 40 mile an hour winds are going to be very common. By the way, the rain just continues to build back to the east too. So more of Seminole County, more of Volusia County will be included within this as far as developing rains and some of that on the heavier side. Again, when I put this into motion for you, you can clearly see the counterclockwise spin of everything. As I mentioned earlier, this low as it's been trying to develop, if anything, has been pushing a little bit south and west initially. It's not going to likely go too much farther south before it stalls out. And then whatever it ends up becoming is going to get pushed back north and maybe north and west. So this is why we're in for the potential days of seeing some significant rainfall across the area. We're on the eastern side of this thing. We're tapping into moisture-laden air coming out of the south when you have the counterclockwise spin. If you want the drier part of a storm, you got to be on the west side. If you get the wetter part of the storm, you're going to be on the east side with this. Again, it's great for the rain in the necessary situation that we need. I'm going to throw on these wind vectors for you guys so you can see this as well. Let me make them a little bit bigger so it's easier for you to see. These are going to be your surface-based winds. So you get the idea. Again, we are in the moisture-laden south winds being pulled in from this system. So rich, deep tropical moisture is going to be coming into play. And this storm is going to always stay west of us. You know, that's what the models are hinting at right now, which is why I am concerned overall about the amount of rain that we end up getting. It's good to get some. It's likely not going to be great to get as much as we would expect in portions of Central Florida. Raining in Ocklawaha. Hello from Sebring. Noisy, windy, and dark in Hudson. Boy, that is a very, again, classic situation right now. Tropical moisture absolutely changes everything, guys. You know, now we are in store for what could be some extremely wet and stormy conditions for the next several days. So we're just going to stick it out together, right? I'm not expecting this storm to get so intense where we really have to worry about things like strong tropical storm force sustained winds, a lot of storm surge on the west coast, although there could be some elevated tide cycles. We're going to have to monitor places like Tampa, Hillsborough Bay, back down towards Bradenton and Sarasota, and even down towards Fort Myers. Could be some elevated seas, obviously, in association with this. A lot of special marine warnings will be up. But again, the situation that we're in right now is just one of those where what you see is what you're going to get a lot of for the next 24, 48, maybe even 72 hours. Generally speaking, the farther east that you live, it'll be slightly quieter, but there's still going to be some moisture being pulled in from the East Coast. So the I-95 corridor will be wet from time to time. So if you have any outdoor plans, if you have any big plans through the weekend, you might want to think about some indoor alternates. There's probably not a lot right now, based on what I'm seeing, as far as big stretches of drier weather for us here. Look at that shelf cloud in Sand Lake. Again, just developing storm in this area right now, but that Sand Lake cam kind of shows you the situation in that area. A lot of low bases to this, the old SLCs, dark, dark clouds out there, guys. The tropical moisture, a big story. Lots of thunder and lightning in Brandon, not much rain though. Appreciate that. We got raining possums. Winter Garden is rocking. Yes, it is. I'm going to dip into my first sugar-free Red Bull. The only one. So a lot of folks chiming in from the western side of Orange County talking about how wet, stormy it is there. All right, back out to the broad perspective. Again, time to kind of get our tropical hats on, if you will, right? That all of this moisture is being produced by this developing area of low pressure off of our west coast. Keep wanting to slide over and do that every so often. I want to show you guys the visible satellite imagery. This will certainly tell the story. I've got high resolution visible satellite imagery available for you. Look at that blow up of storms. Remember, the Gulf water, it's bath water out there right now, okay? And look at this thing in the last 6 hours just go up. Again, the general motion has been south or even southwest. When we had a little bit earlier in the day and we had a little bit of that shadow effect, you can see the thunderstorms really pulsing. Same situation here. And now we're starting to see even what is that center clear out a little bit. Hurricane Center did up the chance to 30%, but really based on what I'm seeing right here, they're likely to continue to elevate that risk. We'll see how quickly this wants to wrap up. If I take off the satellite imagery for you just real quickly here. One second. This is just going to show you the Hurricane Center's idea, right? There's developing low off of Fort Myers by about 80 miles. There's your subtle turn north or northwest. Again, most models right now have this not pushing back across the peninsula, but either basically paralleling the coastline for the next 24, 36 hours and then turning back north and west. But it's a slow enough movement where, again, especially the western side of the area is likely going to be inundated in some rain. Now, I mentioned the severe weather risk as well. Let me do this. I'm going to go back out to here, and then I'm going to bring on our severe weather risk. Take off the tropical risk. So we are under a risk of severe storms for today. This is the other situation with this system. Marginal risk, right? 1 out of 5 on the scale. We've seen that a lot lately. The issue is, though, when you have a developing area of low pressure, you're going to have inherently rotating storms. And I mentioned this, some of the streams. This is why we always have to watch out for the opportunity for brief tornadoes or water spouts in situations like this when we have a developing system, because as these storms are developing, they're inherently rotating around that center of low pressure. So especially along the coastlines, we're going to have to watch out. And even along the East Coast, if the storms can back build far enough towards the east and they begin to rotate inland, we could actually have the potential, just saying the potential, for the most or the highest opportunity for water spouts or brief tornadoes to actually be along the East Coast. Excessive rainfall is going to be an issue, my friends. This is the excessive outlook for today. As you would imagine, it's along the west coast and a bit inland. Now, right now, they just have the marginal risk. My thought is that they're going to start to elevate this risk, potentially beginning today and especially through portions of the weekend as well. If we look at how much rain is potentially going to fall, you can see the bullseye out off of the coast. And again, favoring portions of Pinellas, Manatee, Sarasota, maybe even into Hillsborough counties. But the opportunity for excessive rainfall is likely to spread all the way back towards I-95. All right. And again, this could be days of rain like this. You know, certainly today and tomorrow. We'll see how Sunday and even Monday plays out. Again, appreciate everyone tuning in. I don't mean to be too dark and ominous about things, but I need everyone to understand that we're on a marathon. We're just getting started with whatever impacts this developing area of low pressure is going to bring us across the area. I thank you for tuning in on this Friday. Thanks for everyone in the chat. Like Jonathan's saying, there's a lot of rain that just came through Claremont and Lake County. Dolores says St. Pete and the Gulfport areas are dark. You know, Betty wants to know about hurricane-type flooding. We're not talking about anything like this at this point in time. But again, excessive rainfall and areas of flooding are not out of the question. Marion County got some hail. Scott says, Wesley Chapel area only got some moderate rain for 20 minutes now. Everything misses my area, northwest or south. If you fully miss all of this, man, you might want to sell the house and move on. Likely a lot more coming. Tammy Joe says Tavares was insane. Tiny has lots of rain out in Bithlo right now. Appreciate everyone in the chat. Let me know what's going on in your area. Again, big time tropical downpours coming in. We've had from time to time some severe thunderstorm warnings and some special weather statements. Continue to monitor what's happening across the area here as well. We'll be watching this for you guys. So you can clearly see, right, all the heavier rain, Pasco, back down towards Hillsborough, Pinellas, up the road to Hernando, Sumter, swinging back into Lake, Orange County, and building back to the north and to the east through Seminole County right now, even back over towards the Sanford area. We're going to see that opportunity for some heavier downpours beginning to develop. Going to have to watch the flood threat the rest of today as well, right? Something I'll monitor. Now, if there's a flash flood warning, it's going to pop on my system immediately, okay? So if we do have a flash flood warning, that's going to pop up very quickly. We'll see that. Any flood advisories, I'll be monitoring as well. Don't be surprised if that ends up being the case. Again, special weather statement right now up in Marion County for the Ocala area right now towards Reddick at around 257, all right? And you can see from our live camera network here that we've got a lot in the way of some extremely heavy downpours across portions of Metro Orlando. It's just going to be a very common sight across the area. Again, the rain is building back right now into central sides of Orange County and back up north and east into Sanford. Live look outside right now to Conway. You can see our live camera network working for you right now. Okay. Just making a couple of quick edits here, guys. Stay with me. How's everyone doing? Everyone prepared for this? Again, outdoor plans may be a no-go the next several days. New special weather statement, and they're going to be hoisting a lot of these. This whole area is going to be embedded within winds of 40 to 50 miles an hour. The storms are moving fast enough where it's not going to be a big problem, if you will, to produce those kinds of winds. So this special weather statement is for 50s and quarter-inch size hail. You also notice, too, something else that's going to show you it's a different day than just our sea breeze storms. This special weather statement goes for more than an hour, okay? Goes for 64 minutes. Goes until 3:45. Includes Spring Hill, Newport Richey, Zephyr Hills, Brooksville, Dade City, Bushnell, Hudson, Holiday, St. Leo, Weeki-Wachee, Newport Richey, South Brooksville, a lot of the Zephyr Hills, Land Lakes, Hernando County Airport, Wesley Chapel, South Timber Pines, and Hill and Dale. So this is going to be the bulletin from the National Weather Service office out of Ruskin. Again, Central Sumter, Pasco, Hernando counties through 3:45, 50 and pea-sized hail. All right. Now, again, at this point in time, they're not discussing any large rotation areas, but they are mentioning how frequent cloudy ground lightning could occur with this storm. All right. Probably a good idea just to take a look at our velocity product for the first time today. You can see the brighter reds are stronger winds. Everything is generally straight line. There's a little bit of congestion right here east of Spring Hill, but the wind field is weak with that. Look, you're going to get some lower bases and you're going to get some rotating shelf clouds. That's the situation within any of this. It's just whether anything can wrap up enough and become an actual funnel cloud. But don't be surprised if you are ahead of these storms and you see them coming, that there is some rotation to some of this activity. Fruitland Park, lots of lightning been rolling through. Appreciate, again, all the information you guys are providing, not only for me, but for everyone in the chat. Good afternoon, Blue Goose. How you doing, my friend? Hope you're well. So if you see a triangle on my radar, that is the radar algorithm picking up the opportunity that might actually be producing some hail. It's, while not a guarantee, it is a good indicator that hail is likely being produced out of that particular cell. So if you guys see these green triangles, like the one up here, again, it would be a hail probability. Now we have to go in and look at it, right? So that particular one is 50% hail probability. I'll pull that off my radar, but you can see that right there. 50% hail probability with this one, but less than ½ inch in size. So every icon is made differently. I'll have to go in and look at all of them, but this is a good idea as I go through things, that if we see some of those, that potentially the hail is starting to come up with some of that. Again, our live camera network will continue to monitor the situation across Central Florida for you guys. This is the Conway cam, southeast side of downtown Orlando. This is our Winter Garden cam on the western side of Orange County, looking back off towards the west. So all the gnarly storms that have pulled through. Again, a tremendous amount of lightning in association with these storms. I'll be monitoring my lightning feed. If you guys don't know, in the weather world, there was a significant data outage about 48 hours ago or so, where I literally lost all satellite data. Lucky to have what we have right now. Still haven't been able to get the lightning feed back up, but hopefully that'll be soon. Regardless, we know there's a tremendous amount of embedded lightning with these storms. When thunder roars, you head indoors. Sharon has thunder in Inverness there in Citrus County. Appreciate that. Sporty Short has the rumbling in Deltona. And again, we're just swinging through our camera network for you guys so you get a good idea of what's happening across the area. We'll go over here, a little bit easier. So now, even in this early afternoon of our Friday, the flood threat starts to already begin to pick up in some of these spots, because the rainfall rates associated with what we're seeing right now are already quite impressive. I haven't shown you guys that yet, but I was looking at it just before I came on, and with this moisture-laden atmosphere that's currently into play, precip rates are going to be 3, 4, 5, and it's not going to surprise me if we get some 6-inch-per-hour rainfall rates. Now remember, that's one piece of the puzzle. The other piece is that these storms are moving pretty quickly, but for instance, here in Spring Hill, there's your, again, nearly 6 inches of rain an hour. I can't overstate how water-loaded the atmosphere is, how much lift there is in the atmosphere, and how torrential these downpours are likely to be when they move through your area. Yes, they're not likely to stick around for a tremendous amount of time, but you want to talk about some quick, localized flooding of low-lying areas, ponding on roadways, maybe in water over roadways. It's a problem. 41, I'm telling you right now, is not a fun drive just south of the Brooksville area, east of Spring Hill. You've got, even at 30-mile-an-hour speed, you're going to have about 3 inches of rain there. Same situation over the Bushnell area in Webster, in Sumter County. You've got some spots here which are pinging 5 inches of rain per hour or higher. Again, tremendous amount of rain there. A couple of spots in portions of Orange County that are 2.5 to 3 inches of rain an hour, and they're really just getting ramped up. Over the special weather statement near Ocala, not as bad, but still 1.5 to 3 inches of rain here. And again, back down into coastal areas. Look over the bays right now. Same situation. Pinellas Park, Pinellas County. Just feeding in all of that moisture. It's also not a great situation as well. When you have a spin to your south and west, guess what's going to be happening? Some of that moisture coming from the bays are likely to get pushed right back into Pinellas County. Special marine statement there as well. As you would imagine, look, West Coast, they're going to be hoisting up special marine warnings all over the place. Obviously, small craft want to be back into safe harbor. Swells are going to be generated out of this thing. It's not going to be very fun over the weekend, and even starting right now. Let me clear all that off for you guys. Again, if you're just tuning in, we are in store for a big marathon here in Central Florida. Now, certainly the situation could be this. We could have a big flare-up of storms this afternoon. They spin back off the coast. Things are quieter for a time. And then sometime overnight, there's a regeneration of storms. Sometime tomorrow, there's a big regeneration of storms. We may not be sitting in just days and days of persistent rain in one spot, but the overall opportunity for storms throughout the peninsula, including here in Central Florida, is going to be exceptionally high through at least tomorrow, if not Sunday and Monday, just depending on how this wants to evolve over the next 24 to 72 hours, right? Again, you're developing low here. Movement will slowly be to the north and to the northwest eventually, but over the last 6 hours or so, it's actually sunk a little bit further southwest. So it's pulling away a little bit, and it's going to be basically paralleling the coast and putting all that moisture with our southerly winds right back into play. So the last report for the Hurricane Center was a 30% chance of development. I was going to just check another data feed here real quick, guys. Yeah, they haven't changed anything with that one. So still at a 30% chance. Again, regardless of actual development, my thought process for Central Florida is wet, stormy weather, flooding threat, brief water spouts, brief tornadoes. New special weather statement is up right now for Orange County and Seminole County. West at 14. Everything's going to be moving west to northwest for the most part today. Again, I told you back building of the storms east, but everything pushing back off towards the west. So, going to go till 3:15 for Orlando, Deltona, Sanford, Apopka, and Altamont Springs. Very common special weather statement, I believe. That's going to be winds of around 50 miles an hour and some quarter-inch size hail. We are likely to avoid extremely large hail out of this scenario, but could there be pockets of damaging hail? Not out of the question. Keep an eye on the wind gusts. With the storm over Spring Hill, they've gone severe. Makes sense to me from what we were just looking at. That's a hail core right there. So here you go. Here's your inch hail core, flooding rains, bad scenario, just south of Brooksville. Anyone live in Brooksville, especially southern Brooksville? Anyone live south of Brooksville on 41? Let me know. Hey, Chessie, how you doing? Now, Chessie's someone, friend of the channel, moderator, member of the channel. I'm going to keep a really close eye on what they have to say. Frequent lightning, gusty winds, torrential rain in Spring Hill. Again, this storm is headed in the direction of Spring Hill. Now, potentially whatever hail core is out there might miss Spring Hill just to the north, but Weeki Wachee could be within that system. So based on that timing, right, Weeki Wachee at about 309, Bayport right along the coast at 321. So pretty significant storm right now in portions of Hernando County. 33-mile-an-hour wind gust at the airport south there, the Brooksville Airport, but well south of the actual city. Again, Spring Hill is included within this severe thunderstorm warning. This is the bulletin for the National Weather Service office out of the Tampa Bay Ruskin area. Severe thunderstorm warning for southwest Hernando County till 3:15. Severe thunderstorm located over South Brooksville, moving west at 25, 60s and quarters. Now look, as you get to 60s and quarters, that quarter hail is damaging hail. If you have an opportunity to get the car inside, I would do so. The problem is that we're embedded with extremely heavy rainfall and a lot of lightning in the area as well. Yep, I'm on it, Chessie. Thank you. Going back over to our chat, Dunedin, lots of lightning, but light rain at the moment. Again, it'll be that situation, guys, where we're going to get heavy downpours from time to time. We're also going to get some areas that it's just dark bases to the clouds, some broad rotation, and then other areas where things are going to ramp up very quickly. This is an extremely unstable atmosphere right now. And remember, our tropical system is developing as we speak. If you're just tuning in, this thing is really ramped up over the last 6 hours, okay? As our developing tropical system, now again, it's not a depression right now, it's not a tropical storm, but it certainly is showing signs of fairly rapid organization on this Friday afternoon. If I go back over to our visible satellite imagery here, our high-res visible satellite imagery, and I put this into motion for you guys, take a look at what this has evolved at since this morning. Watch the clearing near that center, okay? Remember, it's bathwater out here off the Gulf. Now, I also have access to buoy data, all right? If you guys don't know, yes, we can check all of the METAR reporting stations, but I can also access our buoy data here in the Gulf. So these are all wind gusts in miles an hour. So this is going to be a great indication, you know, if one of these buoys is near that center, just what kind of winds that we're getting out of this as well. But you can clearly see that we're starting to thin things out a little bit here. And there's that spin, still a little bit more mid-based than low-level based, but the organization is relatively impressive already on this Friday afternoon. The Hurricane Center has upped the chance to a 30%. As I've mentioned, for Central Florida, regardless of this becoming organized, this becoming a depression or a storm, the impacts are going to be virtually the same. This is going to be still fairly weak, even if it does become a depression or storm off of our west coast. The flooding rains are the primary threat, but we have a lot of spinning storms, so we can't rule out brief tornadoes. We know that systems of a tropical nature spinning around an area of low pressure inherently produce rotating storms in the area. So we've really filled back in the radar with a lot of special weather statements. Our severe thunderstorm warning here up in Hernando County, raining extremely heavily through portions of western Hillsborough back into Pinellas counties. So St. Pete, Pinellas Park, Reddington Shores, the airport, town and country. And again, this marine warning is going to be for the bays and all of the major causeways, Howard Franklin, Skyway Bridge, Courtney Campbell, Treasure Island Pass, St. Pete Beach, Port Manatee. You see all of them there. But again, any of the bays, causeways, coastal areas are going to be under this special marine warning for Hillsborough, Pinellas counties. It kind of sneaks back into Manatee County as well. Pretty good storms over Anna Maria Island as well. Again, larger special weather statement outside of our severe thunderstorm warning. I want to get back into this storm though. Let's track the possibility of hail out of this one. Yeah, we're certainly pinging some hail out of this. The warning is for inch-size hail, and that's exactly what we're seeing here based off of the radar algorithm. So potentially nickel, which is 0.88 inch to quarter-inch size hail. Both of those are damaging hail sizes to siding, to roofs, to cars. So there is a good hail core that is likely basically moving right along 50 right now and trying to get towards Weeki Wachee. Again, you live in the Weeki Wachee area. 3:09 is your time of arrival. Bayport at 3:21. Could still be some smaller hail down in Spring Hill. I know we have some people who are watching there, including Chessie. If you guys live in the Spring Hill area, Weeki Wachee, Brooksville, let us know in the comment section below what you're seeing. Good to see you, my friend Blue Goose. I hope you're doing well. It is a rowdy weather day across Central Florida, even more than that. I mean, this is, again, obviously a scenario where we are getting a little bit of tropical characteristics to what's happening across the area for today, producing widespread showers and storms and the opportunity for some flooding rains as well. So again, that's the hail potential from the storm in southwest Hernando County. Go back out to the broad view. Again, when you see the yellow layer come on, it's going to be inherent, and I'll take it off. That is the tropical outlook from the National Hurricane Center. We got rain now in Inverness. Pork Chop says Homosassa, no rain, but just some thunder there. Again, appreciate everyone in the chat. Maxim says in West Chase, heavy thunder, moderate rain, but no hail. I hope we can avoid the hail for the most part. I got to check out real quick here. Let's see if there's any flood advisories yet. Nothing so far. No flood advisories yet. But we're just getting started. Special weather statements, severe thunderstorm warnings, marine warnings. So when I go to this product, guys, it's going to give us a county by county look at the flood advisories. If there is a flash flood warning, which is the most serious potential for flooding, that's going to immediately show up on the screen. Not going to have to wait for me to switch products here. We'll get that in a green polygon for any flash flood warnings. How you doing, Hard Times? Rain and thunder in Buffalo. Sharon is there in Spring Hill. Thunderstorms really ramping up now south and east of Spring Hill. They are indeed. Again, severe thunderstorm warning in effect right now for Hernando County, southwest Hernando County, until, let's see, until 3:15. Next 16 minutes. Now, if you're new to the channel, I don't have to overly state things. You can see a lot of this on the screen for yourself. This is how we design this channel. A lot going on in a situation like this. You guys can come in and see for yourselves. First of all, you'll see the warning type. You'll see when it expires and the threats out of that particular storm. So the severe thunderstorm warning has 60-mile-an-hour winds and inch-size hail. The special weather statements will be yellow and polygon. You will see their potential issues there. And if we do get a tornado threat, tornado warning, that will be in purple. So because we do have a severe thunderstorm warning in Hernando County, that will pop up on your screen. Hey, CC Ray, good afternoon to you. Jared, good afternoon to you as well. Appreciate everyone tuning in. Thank you to the members of the channel. If you guys are members of the channel, which is that join button, again, this is a live only channel, but the last couple of days I was putting out a member only videos, kind of giving everyone a heads up of what I thought might be happening across our area, including the opportunity here that we might be getting into a scenario where we're going to have to watch out for tropical development and some of the heavier rain that is being produced out of that. So that's another member benefit. Our members are in green in the chat, and we appreciate those. Including Smart Grandma is in the chat, Sharon Kinney also as well. If you are a moderator, you're in blue. And again, the moderators will be paying close attention to what I'm saying. You got a question about the forecast, feel free to drop it in the comment section below. If for some reason I missed that, they're my eyes and ears, and they are happy to answer those questions for you guys. Hey, Jay Coates, crazy in St. Pete. Again, Jay is one of the members of the channel. I appreciate Jay being a member of the channel. He says it's going nuts in St. Pete. So let's take a look at St. Pete real quick while we're sitting here. And again, our live camera network helping to tell the weather story across Central Florida. It's just simply coming down. The bottom line is Pinellas Park, Leoben, Gulfport, St. Pete Beach, Treasure Island. Special marine warning, not a special weather statement, but you can clearly see that through the bay and then even building back towards the Ruskin area, which is where the Tampa radar is located. When you get into these bright reds and fuchsias like this, it's just a tremendous amount of water coming down. Again, moisture-laden air. It's like a wet sponge outside. Tropical systems produce a lot of lift. We're in Florida in July, and there you go. And as I've mentioned, we have to watch out for these storms continuing to build off towards the east. Now, this storm is far enough east. I'm going to switch over to the Melbourne radar on the east coast to monitor this one. We do have a new severe thunderstorm warning, and this is going to be for the east side of Orlando. So if you live in Orlando, it's a new severe thunderstorm warning. This one's a little bit slower west because it's just developing. It's going to pick up forward speed, I promise you. These storms, for the most part, will have good forward speed, moving off to the west right now at around 6 miles an hour. Oviedo, Winter Springs, Wedgefield, Avalon Park, UCF included in this new severe thunderstorm warning. Here's the bulletin from the National Weather Service office out of Melbourne. Looks like this. Severe thunderstorm warning southeast Seminole, so it sneaks into southeast Seminole County, eastern Orange County until 3:30. Severe thunderstorm over Buffalo moving off towards the west, 60s and quarters. That's the problem, guys. Now we're back into the potential for more damaging hail. Back up to an inch in size. It's not a good situation. Oviedo, Winter Springs, Wedgefield, Avalon Park, and UCF. Again, I would stay away from east-facing windows as the storm moves off towards the west. Got to watch out for the lightning here as well. If you're just tuning in again, normally all the lightning strikes would be on the screen. There was a major data outage So I'm keeping track on whether my lightning data, it could come back up imminently. I'll keep an eye on that, but 48 hours ago, I had no satellite data, so good to have most of everything else back. How much rain do Lutz get? Backyard is flooding. We take a look at that. Rain and trees sideways here in Weeki Wachee. So yeah, guys, look, there is an intensity to these storms today that we don't typically see even in our more heightened sea breeze storms. The tropical environment that's in play right now is a part of that scenario. So we need to get prepared for storms today that will continue to redevelop and be on the stronger side. So now we do have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings, one for Hernando and one for Orange County. I'm just going to stay on this big view. We'll take a look at our cameras coming up. I know a lot of folks are really interested in the radar and what's happening, so I don't want to squeeze back my radar too much at this point in time. Getting back into this storm over the Spring Hill, Weeki Wachee area, potentially up to inch-size hail here. Again, moving to the west. We basically have it over Weeki Wachee now and over the next 5 minutes. The Bayport area, which is right along the coast, 321. Again, I can, down to the second, based on forward speed, show you street level mapping and exactly when it's going to arrive. So there's other areas of Weeki Wachee. The northeast side is basically being impacted right now. The part of Weeki Wachee, which is basically over 19, will be impacted in about 5 minutes. And again, that storm following the coastal road out to Bayport in about 17 minutes. So through about 321, this severe thunderstorm warning. Again, looking at the Melbourne radar, switch it back over to the Tampa radar, it'll be a little bit better view of this storm. You can clearly see there's been a little bit of development north, even into the southern sides of Citrus County, towards Sugar Mill Woods, where they just issued a special weather statement. So you guys can see why you're tuning into this channel, right? I mean, you're getting the heads up at where these storms are developing, where the worst weather is going, and if you're in the path of that, some of the actions that you can take. Now, let me give you an idea. If I lived in downtown Orlando, if I lived in places like Baldwin Park or Azalea Park or Conway or Pine Hills, Winter Park, Maitland areas, I would make sure that whatever I can do to protect my property is done as this storm with the potential for hail is coming through, right? You get the cars inside. Any lightweight unsecured objects in your yard should be secured, right? You don't want the plastic PVC chair flying and knocking out a window or knocking out patio screens, right? Especially if you have east-facing backyard, because all that wind's going to be coming in from the west. So again, looking off towards the east, you could have some 60-mile-an-hour winds, and if you got that lightweight PVC chair, plastic chairs, guess what? It's going to be thrown around a bit with 60-mile-an-hour winds. Going to keep an eye on the wind gusts as well for you guys. Again, nice hail core, potentially right over UCF. Now we have our Conway cam, right? Look on the top side of your screen. That Conway cam is right around here, looking east from Lake George. So we'll be able to monitor that very close to where the core of that severe thunderstorm is. We have additional cameras as well on the southern side of the Orlando metro area. The new special weather statement, by the way, up north is going to be getting into Citrus County. That main threat is half-inch size hail, just below damaging criteria, if you will. 50-mile-an-hour winds, Inverness, Homosassa Springs, and then other areas back off towards the south. Does include places like Floral City. So Inverness, Floral City, kind of on the far north and east side of this. A little bit more potent back down towards Sugar Mill Woods and the northern sides of Hernando County, taking 19 south. The unknown Lion fan says absolutely crazy right now in Spring Hill. So looking at, again, rainfall rates, you just want to talk about a water-loaded atmosphere, guys. Anywhere you guys see this black, that's 4, 5, 6 inches of rain an hour, right? I'm not going to take the time. Well, okay, real quickly, I'll take the time. Just real fast. I mean, again, Spring Hill. 6 inches of rain an hour. I think, by the way, that my system only goes up to 5.9. So you have likely 6+ inch rainfall rates per hour. Now, again, there's forward speed to these storms, But you want to talk about not seeing a darn thing. You want to talk about no visibility. Get into a thunderstorm that has 6+ inch per hour rainfall rates to go along with some extremely strong winds and maybe even some hail. That's the level that we're talking about for today in some of our area, and potentially might be having to deal with for a time, from time to time, over the next several days, with a developing tropical system just off the west coast. Blinding rain there, absolutely blinding rain. Checking in with our Conway cam, that is the severe thunderstorm that is moving towards that camera. We're going to have a really good idea about what's going to be happening with that storm, okay? Got to monitor the situation with that particular storm pretty darn closely. If you guys do get any hail, let me know in the comment section below. Again, if you guys are just tuning in right now, there's going to be a lot of areas to cover with you for a while, right? Expect impactful weather through at least this afternoon. We're just going to see how it plays out from there. Again, you do have 2 severe thunderstorm warnings right now. Oh. Sorry, I thought you guys could see what I was doing. Huh, you still can't see. All right, never mind. I was trying to do some cool telestration for you, but that's all right. That's a my fault thing. Got our Sand Lake cameras, by the way, up. That's the southern side of Orange County. Right now, they're kind of showing off towards the clear. We're going to look at that Conway cam pretty significantly here. If you guys live in and around UCF, Alafaya, Waterford Lakes, Avalon Park, Dean Road, places like that on the eastern side of Orange County, moving towards the 417. Get prepared for a significant storm that's going to be coming in. Another special weather statement, again, that brackets this area. It only goes for the next 3 minutes, but the Hurricane Center, the Weather Service office could extend that farther off to the west. Leesburg's picked up a 30-mile-an-hour non-thunderstorm wind gust lately. Zephyr Hills has had a 36. This severe thunderstorm warning continues for Spring Hill, Weeki Wachee towards Bayport for the next 3 minutes. Potentially close enough to going offshore where they're not going to reissue the severe thunderstorm warning. They might for a brief time to include Weeki Wachee and Bayport, but it's really almost, storm specific, whether the Weather Service offices, as these storms are about ready to move offshore, whether they reissue severe thunderstorm warnings for brief times. Sometimes they do, sometimes they don't. But you can clearly see the amount of rain that's falling right now over our western areas. Just a tremendous amount of rain. Gonna have to watch out for the flood threat. Gonna have to watch out for the flash flood threat in these areas too. If anyone's talking about any tornado activity, I'll continue to monitor situation. There certainly has not been any tornado warnings at this point in time. But again, low base to the clouds, downburst winds that could be significant, absolutely possible with a lot of these storms. And remember, these storms are going to have inherent rotation, okay? So the opportunity for some spin in the atmosphere is going to be with these storms. If they can develop a little bit more, maybe even near the coastline, you can get yourself a water spout or a brief tornado or funnel cloud. All right, let's go back to the chat while we're looking at the Conway cam. Largo has lost some power. It only works with no cams. Got it, no pills. I knew there was something I was doing wrong. Dan says Hudson going crazy right now. Again, if you don't have to travel, I would not be traveling. If you can absolutely avoid not having to travel at this point in time, probably just a really good idea. Now, it's a Friday. If you know anyone who's at work, let them know about the situation, right? Have them tune into the channel. Make sure that they stay weather aware. Portions of I-4 in Citadel and Orange counties, already wet, inundated with rain, severe thunderstorm there. 75 and US 19 look like dog crap. Not going to be a lot of fun here to be driving anywhere from Crystal River south on 19 all the way into Pinellas County, or 75 from the Turnpike interchange there in the Wildwood area, villages, right on back down into, you know, the western sides of Hillsborough County, and even back into Manatee and Sarasota. It's not as if it's completely dry. Again, if we take a look from the Tampa radar, you can see our developing tropical low. Still not a depression or storm yet, but it looks a lot more impressive than what it did just 6 hours ago. Bithlo, where we have the one severe thunderstorm warning, has the blinding rain. Kevin says we're finally getting some rain in Brandon as well. Crew Gator storm picking up in Hudson, State Road 19 and 52. Appreciate it. Hey guys, I appreciate all of that information. That really helps me out. It helps everyone who's watching the channel out as well. Again, wisdom of the crowd, right? That's why you guys are tuning in. Live, interactive channel for you. Tracking these storms, right? No geographic boundaries. We'll cover whatever we need to cover with this situation. We've got our live cameras for you guys. And again, we're going to come together as a weather community and track all this activity for you. Couple of folks asking about some areas I haven't covered a ton of at this point in time. We do have a special weather statement up in northern Marion County. It's stormy in Ocala at this point in time. That storm is moving to the north right now. It's been some scattered showers over Alachua County. Again, a little bit of rain over towards Palatka and Putnam County. A little bit more scattered in nature up there, but they could certainly get into some building storms this afternoon. People asking about the East Coast. As I've mentioned before, but with the storm that we're seeing in eastern Orange County, the development has actually been to kind of take these storms and build them east as they begin to spiral west. This is the motion over the last half hour, and you can see that it continues to be a little bit of building of storms farther south and east. So they'll back build east and then they'll swing to the west and to the northwest around and counterclockwise our center of circulation, which is south and west of us. So everything is going to be rotating around the scenario here. The situation is because our entire peninsula, everyone viewing us from Florida for today, is east of the center. That means all of our surface-based winds are mainly out of the south or east right now. Guess what that means, guys? A ton of moisture-laden air that's spinning through. So this is why when a storm is off of our west coast like this, it's a rainmaker. If this same storm were off of our east coast, we would get the drier northerly winds coming in. So again, west of the center, you've got your drier north winds, but everyone is east of that center, and all that moisture-laden southern and southeast winds are feeding into this system right now. Ton of lift in the atmosphere. It's like a wet sponge out there. So there's nothing stopping there from being an inundation of rain. Again, potentially not just today, through the weekend, maybe even early in the week, just simply based on what might be happening with this potentially developing tropical system. Again, even if it doesn't become a depression or a storm for our area, there's not much of a change in what I expect. Even a wet, sloppy system is going to produce days of potential torrential downpours and some flood threats. As dry as it's been along the West Coast, it's great to get the rain, but this much in this short of amount of time, it's going to cause some problems. That's the risk area for the National Hurricane Center, updated at 2 o'clock. Notice their line is bending back north and west. Now, earlier, the last couple of days, their development zone was even farther east off of our coast, okay? But all of the models that have been holding on to development, especially the European models, the ensembles, the AI version of the European models, the last 24 hours have really started to build whatever's developing back north and west, kind of off of the Panhandle coastal waters, or even towards New Orleans. So we're likely to see this slow down, not go much farther south, and then slowly lift back north, continuing to parallel the west central coastline of the state and then slowly, if it does evolve, swing back to the north and to the west. Let's get back into our thunderstorms. I'm going to do a quick reset. Stand by. Power out UCF. All right, thank you, Shelby. I appreciate that. So University of Central Florida area, eastern side of Orlando. We've lost some power there as well. Unfortunately, guys, the winds are going to be significant enough in these areas where we're going to get a lot of that. As I've mentioned, they did not re-up the severe thunderstorm warning near the Weeki Wachee area. They let the special weather statement they issued ahead of time cover that area, but winds are still likely to be 50 miles an hour and some half-inch size hail. Hopefully, we start to lose some of the larger hail size. We continue with our severe thunderstorm warning here. I'm going to double check which radar I'm on. I'm going to switch over to the Melbourne radar. Again, I have access to all individual radar sites. We can look at them at a composite. So if there's storms on the west coast, I'll probably switch over to the Tampa radar. If there's storms central and east, I'll probably switch over to the Melbourne radar. Just gives us a better presentation of what's happening. This storm does look like it's fallen apart a little bit. I don't see the tremendous hail core any longer here. Again, movement was kind of west. Now it's north at 7, very slowly. In effect for the next 10 minutes. Nautilus, we got a $5 super chat. Going to be a busy couple of days. We appreciate you, Rusty, for covering everyone. Thank you very much, Just Nautilus. Appreciate you coming into the chat. Appreciate the support of the channel and the variety of ways that you support the channel. It is going to be a marathon, guys. It's as simple as that. We'll take it as it comes. I'm sure you guys will as well. And I'll just kind of base our coverage on what's happening outside. There are certainly times where the weather might quiet up a bit. Now, if you guys don't know, I don't necessarily have to be on the channel. We can run the radar and some lovely music and our cameras, and that can kind of cover the interms. But whenever there's impactful weather, I like to try and be on and cover it for you guys live. But there are multiple ways that we can cover the scenario here if this ends up being a 2- and 3-day event, which it could potentially be. Again, we don't have a lot of redevelopment right now back into some of our south central areas. This could be an indication that this first wave of storms might be kind of it for now. We'll have to see how this back builds to the south and to the east. So this could be a scenario where, again, just kind of playing it out in my head, these storms roll through the next couple of hours, they quiet down for a bit, and then we just kind of have to wait and see when the next flare-up, the next band wants to come back in as that low continues to churn off of the Fort Myers coastline. Let's go back over to our Conway cam. Again, we're looking right at that severe thunderstorm in Orange County. And technically, this slips into southeast sides of Seminole County as well. Checking back in with the chat as we look at our cameras. From Rainstorm Hunter 71, just got the patio chairs up. Thunder said, thank you loudly in Port St. John, exit 208 I-95. Appreciate you letting me know there as well. Smart Grandma says the rain is picking back up with wind in Spring Hill. Question is it moving towards Williston, which is north of where it is at this point in time? It should be building up towards Williston and swinging through. Look, there's a big chance through a lot of Central Florida that you are going to see impactful weather at some point in time over the next couple of days. It may not be with this first wave, but we are in a scenario right now where we are going to be stuck with just a tremendous amount of water over our heads. Okay, and again, everything is spiraling from east to west. There will be some opportunities for the East Coast to see some showers and storms develop and work inland. Has not been the scenario so far, although we're beginning to see a little bit of activity back towards Melbourne. The East Coast sea breeze is right here along the coast, and the opportunity for some showers there. Certainly in a general sense, the rain, at least at this point in time, is a little bit more concentrated interior and west. And it makes sense because it's closer to our area of low pressure, our developing system here in the Gulf. As a matter of fact, let's take a look at some pressure fields. So this line right now is just showing you a trough, basically still at the mid levels of the atmosphere. Nothing has tried to develop concentrically around that center, but you can clearly see the wind field around that broader center, which is going to make a run at developing a low level center. Again, buoy data. I have access to buoy data. There is a buoy not too far from this center, 42023. If anyone fishes off of the Naples Marco Island area. It's got a north wind right now. And then we have another buoy here, 42013. That's off the Venice-Sarasota coastline. So again, some offshore buoys we can tap into and keep an eye on that information as well for you guys. This severe thunderstorm warning, in my opinion, will expire at 3:30. I think that storm has pulsed up and lost some of its intensity. That's great news for the downtown Orlando area because likely that hail core is done. So right now, at least with this particular core, not expecting that one to come through places like Baldwin Park, Azalea Park, Conway, Winter Park, the Lake Nona areas and produce damaging hail. Again, this was up to an inch size hail, so that is good. They have issued a new special weather statement, and this is what's going to be happening, guys. They're going to be firing these off left and right as these storms pulse up and build and merge and outflow boundaries come together with all the lift in the atmosphere and the moisture to come along with it. So special weather statement now in effect until 4 o'clock, northwest at 14. DeLand, Orange City, Paisley, Cascia, and DeBary included in this special weather statement. Strong thunderstorm will impact Northeast Lake, West Central Volusia counties through 4 o'clock. Winds of 50 and some pea-sized hail. Again, you live in areas like Orange City and DeBary, and then over towards 44, western sides of DeLand. That's the one that's headed your way or moving through your area right now. That has to be a heck of a thunderstorm there, smart grandma. It's just coming down in buckets right now. Homosassa Springs, southern side of Citrus County. It's even built up towards Lecanto, across 44, Crystal River on over towards Inverness, Lecanto, and then up towards Denellen. You can see the ranges building up. Again, there's your special weather statement up in Ocala. It's going to be quite honestly hard to track everything at one point in time. This is another special weather statement I haven't really talked too much on. It's a large one right now for the next 20 minutes. While I'm talking to you guys, I'm going to keep an eye on. I've got a message out for my lightning feed. Just going to keep an eye out for that. Yeah, it's still the same. It's still the same feed issue that we've had, unfortunately. All right. Total rainfall predictions are quite hard at this point in time. I put in the ticker, I think at least 6-inch rainfall totals in some western areas, and we're just going to have to see how it plays out. I think on a daily basis, 2, 3, maybe even 4 inches of rain per day is not out of the question, especially in western zones. We have excessive flood or excessive rainfall risk in those areas. But a grand total right now, I would venture to say at least 4 to 6 out west and maybe locally higher. But that could change, subject to change based on the scenario that's being played out right now. Wait a minute. Am I getting lightning data now? Huzzah. It's back. It's back, boys and girls. All right, good. Again, big time data outage had nothing to do with my system. All who were getting data feeds through this service were impacted. 48 hours ago, I didn't even have satellite data. But I think we've got everything back up now with the return of the lightning data, which is good. Perfect timing for us. So the lightning data comes back on. For those of you who are in coastal Citrus and Hernando counties, look, it's not like the craziest amount of lightning. And by the way, that lightning count might go up quickly as the data feed returns. But obviously, it's a tremendous amount of lightning embedded within this too. Bayport, Weeki Wachee, Spring Hill, up 19 into Sugar Mill Woods, Chassahowiska, Homosassa Springs. Lecanto starting to get it. Same thing for Crystal River. As we hit 3:30, I would expect our severe thunderstorm warning in eastern Orange, southeast Seminole to expire. Hopefully not reissued there. If anything, the storm again has built east across 50. And I know we had a report earlier out of Buffalo of a lot of heavy rain and lightning there. And well, guess what? It might take a run back towards I-95. You know, you live in Indian River City, you live in Port St. John. That storm is slowly back building east towards your area, even though ultimately everything is going to spiral off towards the west. Drop Top Roberto says pouring in Ruskin right now, buckets. That's another storm that basically back built over the bays. So that storm was in Pinellas County and has built back over the bay into Ruskin area. Again, we're looking at the radar site in Ruskin, so it's a little bit of a garbled radar view from there, but you can clearly see the heavy rain there. Jesse says it was worse 30 minutes ago. Bushnell ready for round 2. Carolyn comes on and says, this is probably going to be the most rain we've had in my area in over a year between Umatilla and Weirsdale. Not out of the question. You know, potentially the first quote-unquote tropical system that's influencing our area. Look, we know, guys, if you guys have lived in Florida long enough, or if you're new to Florida, or you're one of our international viewers, and I promise you, we have viewers right now from across the globe, from across the pond, in Canada, in the Caribbean. It does not take a strong tropical system to produce copious amounts of flooding rains here in Central Florida. Sometimes the weaker, slower systems are what get us with the flooding. Right? This may end up not even becoming a true tropical system, and we can already see the water it's throwing over our area with additional potential days of this to continue across the region. So, you know, we've got to just stick in store. If you're just tuning in as well, right here is our developing potential tropical system. A lot of moisture being fed in back to the north and to the east, all southerly winds on the eastern side of this. You can see the range is kind of building right down 27 towards Miami. And the radar is going to be quite active for what could be days ahead. Check out a couple of different things here, guys. Let's look at any local storm reports. We haven't done that yet. We do have one there. 40-mile-an-hour wind at the Tampa Cut in the bay. Nothing else as of yet. Again, we are under a risk for severe storms. We've already had multiple severe thunderstorm warnings. The risk from the Storm Prediction Center is from Orlando north, potentially a little bit more juice north. But I got to tell you something. I think pretty much our entire area is under about the same threat. And it's what you see at the bottom of your screen. Now, for a severe thunderstorm warning, you got to get to 60-mile-an-hour winds and or inch-sized hail, and we've had that from time to time. But I want to be clear, although the tropical downpours and the flooding is going to be the overall most impactful weather widespread, strong enough storms to produce damaging winds, damaging hail size, and a brief tornado or a water spout are not out of the question for the next several days, not just today. Excessive rainfall risk. Again, in green. Again, every time I do that, I've got the tropical layer on, so your tropical weather outlook will pop on. I'll just knock that off every time. There's your risk of excessive rainfall today. I'm a little surprised they haven't upped it a category, but still some flooding rains are likely along the west coast, all the way up towards the Nature Coast, up towards Cedar Key, Crystal River areas, all the way back down towards Naples. But additional heavy flooding rains are not out of the question inland. This is just, hey, what's the area with the highest opportunity for that? We can look at the QPF forecast from the Weather Prediction Center. Here, this is not necessarily a model, it's just theirs. Again, significant rain right along and just off of our coast. We can look at the models too. Again, I got access to everything here, guys. And again, this is a marathon, not a sprint. We got plenty of time to go over everything. That's the GFS total precip. Through today. Probably pretty much in line, right? We talked about it. Widespread 2+ inches of rain in a lot of spots. Generally speaking, the farther east that you go, the lighter the amounts. More additional heavier rain up towards the Big Bend and along the coast. Again, that's just a model. Let's see here. This is the HER model, the high resolution rapid refresh. Got a $2 super chat from Shadow Frequency 0128. When will it hit I-10 Mariana area? Happy to answer that question. Thank you for the super chat. Give me just 1 second. I'm going to finish this presentation and I will absolutely look at that. But thank you for your super chat. Let's get the hearts out in chat for Shadow Frequency. Hearts out in chat for Nautilus as well. So can you see what the HER model is trying to do, right? Look where it points where that center is going to end up being as we get into Sunday morning. Now, it has the heaviest rain really just brushing the coast, but it is going to be real close for a while. Now, eventually up towards Mariana, this will start to kind of swing your way later this weekend, right? You're far enough north right now up in I-10 where you're just going to get some of the scattered variety storms. But if this holds together and it does pull north and west, your worst weather is likely to come later this weekend and into early next week. Still, though, a lot of uncertainty. I want to be very clear about that. A lot of uncertainty with this. I'm just going to take off. I'm going over to what the composite radar, guys. It's just all the radars. Again, really right now, the name of the game is right over Central Florida, but certainly the Panhandle will start to see some of this activity spin in. This is the loop over the last several hours. Again, if anything, this thing has slowly sunk to the south, beginning to slow up whatever it is. Will likely sit off of the Fort Myers, Cape Coral, Naples coastline for a time today, and then lift back up to the north. But appreciate Shadow Frequency. Again, if you lived up in the Panhandle, you got to stay prepared as well. You may not have a ton of weather today, but your worst weather may start to set in tomorrow and on Sunday and Monday, depending on if this develops and how far north and west it goes. So the Weather Service just continues to hoist up additional special weather statements. I mentioned to you guys that once I got my entire data feed of lightning back, that the lightning count would probably go astronomically higher. Guys, we got nearly 2,800 lightning strikes in Central Florida in the last 15 minutes. That's it. In the last 15 minutes, 2,775 lightning strikes. The intensity of these storms is tremendous. The moisture in the atmosphere, the content is outrageous. Our friends who are here in Crystal River and Homosassa Springs, look at the lightning count here. So again, new special weather statement with this storm developing north. It's developing north and pushing west at the same time. Williston, Beverly Hills, Homosassa Springs, Crystal River, Black Diamond, Inglis, Lecanto, Citronelle, Crystal Manor, Crystal Oaks, Citrus Springs, Pine Ridge, Citrus Hills, Brentwood, all areas of kind of Crystal River and Lecanto and up towards Denellen. Going up 19, Inglis, up towards Otter Creek there. If you know the old Nature Coast, again, I'm from Crystal River. It's my neck of the woods. Don't live there now, but that's where I'm from. Homosassa Springs, Sugar Mill Woods. Just a bomb went off in Wiki Watch. I mean, look at this lightning here. If I just zoom into this area, this is probably a couple of square miles or so. About 225 lightning strikes in the last 15 minutes. Just a tremendous storm here. New special weather statement. As I've mentioned with the storm here, I'm going to keep going as fast as I can, guys, but we're going to likely have multiple areas of very intense activity at the same time. You can see the darker clouds developing over southern sides of Metro Orlando. Hey, Just Nautilus sent a gift membership. Let's get the hearts out in chat. Dan Davis got that one. I believe I saw that earlier. I might be slightly behind on my chat looking from YouTube, but that's awesome. Thank you very much, Just Nautilus. Appreciate you doing that as well. Bob says Ocala, starting to see a lot of rain and thunder there. Anthony jumps in and says raining hard in Rainbow Lakes Estates, about 9 miles from Denellen with heavy thunder. Yeah, big time tropical moisture coming in, guys. Significant storm in that regard for sure. So again, we do have this special weather statement. I'll give the details on this one now. Northwest at 12, quarter-inch size hail, 50-mile-an-hour winds. You live in Titusville, Wedgefield, Sharp, Port St. John, Bithlo. It's headed your way. 550 lightning strikes in this storm. 720 lightning strikes in this storm in the last 15 minutes. You notice that the Weather Service office understands that this storm is building east. They've thrown up a special marine warning. Let me be clear. This storm is going to try and push west, but there is a component to this that will continue to just build east. If you live in Titusville, Indian River City, Port St. John, and Sharps, you have to be prepared. Ultimately, this storm will pinwheel back to the west, head towards Wedgefield, Avalon Park, UCF, and Chuliota again. That's going to be the whole forward speed, with additional really nasty storms developing right near the radar site in Melbourne. I'm going to switch back over to that one. These could likely be the next special weather statement storms. Near West Melbourne, near June Park, west of Suntree, western sides of Brevard County. Again, along our boundary and our east coast sea breeze, which is pinned along the coast. Checking back with this storm near Deltona, Orange City. Again, continues to track north and west. That forward speed with that one is 14. Some of the worst weather with this one is west of Orange City, Deltona, De Leon Springs. A little bit more rural areas here, but if it can get back over 19, we'll watch for places as far north as Astor, as far south as Eustis and Umatilla to be impacted. Beloved as thunder and rain in the land. Appreciate the crow. Another special weather statement up in Palatka. You can clearly see the storms are just basically lining up right now through Marion County. Small hail core is possible just east of 301. It's going to be north of Ocala on 301, where 301 splits with 441. 301 takes you up to the Hawthorne area, eastern side of Alachua County. East of Gainesville, out of 20, I believe. Yeah. Look at the lightning count pick up. I mean, good luck trying to get in the car and drive right now. Highway 19, 44, Citrus County. Crystal River, Lecanto, Homosassa Springs, down towards Sugar Mill Woods, following 19 all the way back down to Weeki Wachee. This is a tremendous storm. Although maybe it's not severe thunderstorm criteria, again, the amount of rain that it's dropping down right now is impressive. I got to check our special weather statements to make sure we don't have any flood warnings right now. So give me 1 second to do so. I don't see any here. Yeah, that one expired. Again, any flash flood warnings would come on the screen right away, but any flood advisories, we'll just have to look at that product. Guys, we're now up to 4,400 lightning strikes. It's close. This might be the most lightning I've seen from this view. This is our standard view. I just took off the tropical layer. Trying to remember, since I've been doing this, whether we've had 4,500 lightning strikes in this view. I think if there was one that was close, it was Milton, Hurricane Milton, but dang. And again, that's not even like, there's no thunderstorm activity right now back into Polk and Osceola counties and Highlands County. Just, there's not a lot there right now. So you've got some concentrated storms producing copious amounts of lightning right now. Noisy storms. Fox Echo comes in and says he just got his butt kicked between Sugar Mill Woods and Brooksville. Worst I've seen in my 3 years in the area. Again, you take sea breeze activity, tropical system, lift and instability in the atmosphere, and you can get these kinds of storms. But an interesting and probably very accurate description there, Fox Echo. Appreciate that. Dan says he just made it home off the US 19 before those skies opened up. So thunderstorms now building towards our east coast. O'Galley starting to get into that in Brevard County. But it is a tremendous amount of lightning, again, along the west coast right now. Some of that will begin to move offshore and improving conditions for a time over Inverness, Floral City, Brooksville, Spring Hill, Homosassa Springs, Crystal River still absolutely covered up in it. Again, it's hard to describe the amount of rain that's coming down. That's why I keep going back to the flood advisors, just making sure. And we've looked at these areas. This is 5-6+ inches of rain an hour. Now, there is some forward speed with all this activity. Again, the special weather statement here is going to be for a west movement at 20, but you're still likely to be getting 3-4 inches of rain in a fairly short amount of time in some isolated areas, and probably widespread 1.5 to 3 inches. Remember, ponding on roadways, not out of the question. Look out for some water over roadways. When when thunder roars, you head indoors, you guys know that, but turn around, don't drown. We say that all the time, but it really makes sense in this scenario. If you have low-lying areas that are prone to flooding, that is likely to be happening here or beginning to develop through a lot of those areas. With, again, this just being round one, I need to reiterate the fact that we are very much right now in a marathon situation with the developing potential area of low pressure tropically off towards our south and to our west. Regardless of development, it's going to continue to stay off our west coast, spin in ample moisture throughout the weekend, and provide rounds, if not inundation, of scattered showers and storms. You know, we're going to have a severe weather threat with these rotating storms coming in every time they do, but the cumulative impacts could be some widespread, significant flooding, especially along the immediate west coast. Paisley says, thank you for hosting this channel for us. My pleasure. If you guys are getting anything out of this channel, do me a quick favor. Hit the like button for me. Subscribe to the channel. Obviously, both are free, but both help the audience of this channel out more than you guys think, right? You want to support the channel in other ways. The super chat, the super things, the super stickers are open. You can also become members of the channel. That's the join button. Members have access to exclusive member badges and emojis during our live streams. Their names are in green. I always prioritize them in the chat. But you also get access to exclusive member short videos. Even though I wasn't on the last couple of days, I produced exclusive member short videos behind the scenes, giving my thoughts. Again, this is a live only channel. I'm only on when there's impactful weather in Central Florida, but for our members, in between our live streams, I'll try and keep you guys up to date when I think there are scenarios that are going to get necessary to cover, and that's exactly, of course, what's playing out right now. What do you say we swing through our camera network here for just 1 second? We'll take you live to what's happening right now in Winter Garden. Again, gray skies. We're looking back off towards the west with this camera, and obviously this is a storm that is, continuing to be a situation here where the opportunity for more significant weather is not out of the question over the next several hours. That gray sky continues to move off towards the west. And I do appreciate Fox Echo coming in right now with that $10 super thanks. Thanks for the hard work. Just discovered you last week. Let's get the hearts out in chat for Fox Echo for that $10 super thanks. Appreciate the support in that way, my friend. Hope you're doing well. I'll keep you covered. Villages south of 44, 47 between the Turnpike and 75, should actually be improving a little bit right now, but additional storms are developing not too far off from you. So you might either be getting slammed a second time already, or you're in between the two cells, the one that's pushing off the west coast and a secondary cell just developing off towards your east. Again, appreciate everyone coming in to the chat. Appreciate everyone asking the questions. Appreciate everyone letting me know what's going on as well. Yield Curve wants to know about the Orlando area. Look, we'll continue to see the opportunity for waves of showers and storms. This is a dynamic situation. I wish I could sit here and say, all right, look, we're going to have a storm roll through the metro Orlando area at 4:30. It's going to sit for 30 minutes. We'll get some good thunder and lightning out of it, and then we'll be dry the rest of the day. It's just not the scenario, unfortunately, here. This is such a dynamic forecast, that low continuing to develop, feeding in the tropical moisture. One thing I will say is for most areas, don't expect it to be just an all-day soaking rain, the entire day. The immediate west coast would be the closest to that opportunity. But if you live I-4 to I-95, this is going to be coming in waves. Now, from time to time, we might get a 3 to 4 hour break in the action. Other times, it may be a half hour and the next thunderstorm rolls through the area. It's just the scenario that we're in right now, guys. But overall, a very active forecast is what I expect through at least tomorrow in most spots. And that's likely going to be Sunday and even Monday in some areas. Dagger says some pretty good rumbles there in Merritt Island. I promise everyone I'm keeping as close of eye to everyone as I possibly can. If we were looking for a little bit of quieter weather, things have calmed down a bit in Apopka, the northwest side of Orange County. Hey, we'll take whatever break we can get. Look, obviously, an area that's going to be impacted is going to be the Lake Buena Vista area. Again, we have 3 cameras near all of the attractions in the Orlando area. We know this is a spot where folks are going to be out and about all the time and wanting to get out and about. We'll monitor the situation there for you guys, but it is an area that we have very much covered if you do have any interest there in the Orlando metro area. Again, I'm going to go 6 box for a minute so you guys can see some of the cameras across Central Florida, resetting things here at 3:52. Appreciate everyone tuning in for our live coverage of what is going to be a lot of thunderstorm activity and some flooding rains and potential other impacts from a developing area of low pressure off of the southwest coast of Florida. This one does have the opportunity to become a tropical system. We could get a depression or a tropical storm out of this before it's all said and done. Bertha is the next named storm if we get that. Regardless of that, you guys are seeing what is developing in our area, despite the fact that at this point in time, this has not become a true tropical system, but it is pumping in ample moisture across our area. Showers and thunderstorms and flooding rains and severe storms are likely across the region in the coming days. This is not going to be a one-day event. This is going to be a multiple-day event, at least through tomorrow. And in most areas, I'm thinking we swing this into Sunday and Monday as well. Our lightning count is now over 5,500 lightning strikes in just the last 15 minutes in this view. In our standard view that I normally use, it's now at 4,800 lightning strikes. These are tremendously hot storms. There is so much instability and lift in the atmosphere that the amount of rain that they can drop and the lightning that can be produced will be tremendous in a lot of areas. We have, at this point in time, I believe, 6 different special weather statements that are in effect. Right now, no severe thunderstorm warnings, but we still have to watch out for these storms to pulse up, produce winds of 60 plus miles an hour, maybe even some inch-sized hail to go along with the lightning and the flood threat. We're going to start south and east and work our way west. Special weather statements are now up in Brevard County. So those folks who were tuning in a couple of hours ago, or whenever I came on, I don't even know, about an hour and a half ago, and saw no activity in Brevard County, have seen the storms work all the way back towards the west coast. So a special weather statement is now in effect for Melbourne, Camp Holly Fish Camp, West Melbourne, Sun Tree, and Palm Shores till 4:15. Northwest movement, basically zilch. This is just a developing storm. Again, so much lightning, over 500 lightning strikes here, but I-95 for the drive home. Central Southern Brevard County, getting bad over those areas. June Park included within this. We go up the road. Let me just do 1 second here, real quick, guys. Drop off that. Okay. We go up the road to our other special weather statement storm that was a severe thunderstorm. And again, it's not moving much. It's trying to build back towards I-95. If anything, it's trying to swing north and west, but the eastern extent of this is ever so close to the 95 corridor right now near Port St. John and Indian River City and Titusville. Right over 50, it's not a great situation on over towards Christmas area and pushing off towards the west. Bithlo, Chuliota, eventually Avalon Park, Wedgefield, UCF. That is our second one. Our third one continues with this special weather statement storm for DeLand, Orange City, Paisley, Cassia, and DeBerry. A huge ball of lightning trying to work its way towards the Astor area across 19 near Umatilla. That storm has 800 lightning strikes in it. 800 lightning strikes in that storm. Tremendously impressive storm there. New special weather statement for portions of, let's see here. This is definitely into Marion County. Looks like Putnam, maybe even a sliver of Alachua. Yeah, Alachua, Marion, and Putnam. Yeah. This one's moving north and west. So Reddick at 442. But if you do live in Hawthorne or Micanopy or McIntosh, that storm is headed your way with winds of 40 miles an hour. For some reason, they didn't put a special weather statement in this little box, and then they did. So that special weather statement is for this tiny area of Rainbow Lake Estates and Denellen and Romeo for the next 18 minutes. But really, it's this entire area under a special weather statement until 4:15. This goes all the way back down again to Spring Hill and as far north as the Otter Creek, Williston areas. So again, 50-mile-an-hour winds, half-inch size hail. Got to watch out for the flooding now. It's going to start to be a threat with this amount of rain in this short of amount of time. 19 is covered up. Crystal River, Fort Island Golf Trail, 98, 44 to Lecanto. I mean, right across 19. I'm sure the view from Crackers is an interesting one there, right at Port Paradise, places like that, Homosassa Springs, Sugar Mill Woods. Moving away, but still. And there's your huge, impressive lightning and a very interesting signature there. So you can clearly see that there's a little bit of rotation with this. I just picked that up by looking at velocity. Look at the turbulence with that, guys. Look at the winds. 50, 60 mile an hour winds. Not a ton of inflow winds, but this is a damaging storm. This is the one that moved through Brooksville, Spring Hill, Weeki Wachee, and Bayport. Offshore right now, huge wind field, a bit of spin. Again, inherent spin with all these storms. It's one thing I want to continue to pass along. And along the coastline, brief waterspouts, isolated tornadoes are not out of the question. From the Melbourne radar, we can actually get a little bit better view of what's happening right now in Hillsborough and Pinellas counties, because that rain's right over the radar site in Ruskin. Few storms near Sarasota, across the Skyway, Anna Maria Island, Bradenton, Bayshore Gardens, Holmes Beach, Cortez. Again, nasty over the Skyway right now. Back up towards Gulfport, at least some moderate rain. Moderate rain from time to time over most of Pinellas County. Again, this is a spot that you start to add up the rainfall and it could become an issue. Not only today, but for the next several days. Looking at rainfall totals estimated, you can see the wall of water that was just offshore. Now this is showing 0 because it's over the peak from the legend. But we do have some spots. And again, this is all radar estimated. This is not ground truth confirmed. But you potentially have portions of Pinellas County that have already had 3 to 5 inches of rain. And if you do live in Pinellas Park or Seminole or Indian Rocks Beach or Largo, let us know. Even just estimate what you think. Remember that thunderstorm back built over the bay to Ruskin? They maybe had 3 inches of rain there right in the Ruskin area. You know, other spots near Carrollwood, 3 inches. And this is just one day. And we could have a few days like this, especially along the West Coast. We could go from famine to feast and overtly too much, gorging ourselves in rain along the West Coast in too short of an amount of time. Is it safe to assume this is going to hit Daytona? Need to know if I should hide the wife's car. So look, I mean, in a general sense, over the next several days, is there likely to be some activity over Daytona Beach? Yes. Is it an imminent threat right now? Doesn't look like it, but again, a dynamic scenario. It's very hard for me to sit here and say, look, we're going to have storms over this area right now, and they're going to be clearing that area at this point in time, and then we're quiet after that. It's just not the scenario that we're in. For today, I can tell you that certainly the heaviest rain and the most active weather is likely to be along the West Coast, but additional thunderstorms have developed as far east as Brevard County already. In a general sense, if you're asking, should I hide the wife's car? Look, if that's a very simple thing to do and you just want to be on the safe side the next few days, I would obviously suggest that. If that is more of an issue, you know, as something you have to do that you typically don't do, you might just want to kind of wait and see how this plays out a little bit here. Certainly, there will be a hail threat within some of this activity, but potentially along the East Coast, it might be a little bit less. Hope that answers your question. But again, such a dynamic situation. I can't sit here and say, look, we're definitely good in Daytona Beach the rest of the day. I'm not expecting there to be any overtly bad weather there the rest of the weekend. This is a scenario where we are, again, in a marathon. We got to monitor this on an almost hourly basis. But in a general sense for things, the farther west that you live, I would just get prepared for a much higher potential for flooding rains in your spot, again, through the weekend. Kroomgator says there's a power line fire in Brooksville. That's somewhat unsurprising, but I appreciate that information. Whiskey Palmer says no rain right now in my neck of the villages. but lots of rumbles of thunder. Yeah, kind of in between storms in the villages at this point in time. If this activity east of you can hold together, it's likely to swing back in. Again, anyone with any outdoor activities the next couple of days, it's going to be a hard go. It's going to be hard even along the East Coast to get a big block of dry weather. Question out of Melbourne, will it be getting as windy as it did yesterday? These storms absolutely have that potential. We've already had some pockets with winds of over 50 and 60 miles an hour. This is a live look to the wind gusts. And again, you can see some areas devoid of any rainfall that have had 20 to 30 mile an hour winds. And embedded within this, we've had 35, 40, up to 50 plus in a couple of spots. Huh, it's interesting. All right, let me switch this. All right, let me get to this chat real quick. Again, there's a lot happening here. Just want to mention that the Unknown Lion fan said wires down Buena Vista Avenue, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard, and Broad Street near the Winn-Dixie in Hernando County. All right. So obviously damaging wind gusts here. I think it's going to be I think we're going to get more than one report of wind impacts. Inglis, Crystal River, Lecanto, Homosassa Springs, Sugar Mill Woods, Weeki Wachee, Spring Hill, Brooksville. Those were potent wind producers, lightning producers, heavy rainfall producers that are still over this area. It's still a heck of a light show over Crystal River, Lecanto. Lightning strikes here, about 350 in the last 15 minutes. Latest chance for tropical development, Michael, is a 30% chance from the National Hurricane Center. Again, if I switch over to the Tampa radar, you will clearly see our developing area of low pressure and the spin. Being on the east side of this, the winds are all spilling in from the south. The rich, moisture-laden southerly winds are coming in. Along the east coast, there's a bit of an easterly component, so we're driving in the moisture from the Atlantic as well. And these thunderstorms underneath this environment are just going gangbusters right now. Copious amounts of rain, copious amounts of lightning, solid storms. Hey, Dagger, how you doing? We had rain in Merritt Island for at least the past 10 days. You know, there is an opportunity that when this is all said and done, a lot of us get out of the drought, maybe get out of the normally dry category. You know, that's the kind of rains that we could get here. Now, some of us are still so far behind. Even if we get 4, 6, 8 inches of rain along the West Coast, it's not likely to fully pull us out of the drought, but it's going to knock us down a category or two. Half inch of rain in Richland. It could flood in Brandon. Look, anywhere in Central Florida is subject to flooding. There's not one area that's out of that question. Allow me to continue to reiterate that as well. Again, I'm just going back, checking some of the advisories for you guys, making sure that we don't have any new flood advisories. Still so far, so good. Mesoscale discussions. No. Again, we are under risk for severe storms. They have updated that risk area and basically just more went west to east, probably because Spring Hill had that severe thunderstorm. But Spring Hill, Orlando, north, darker green, marginal 1 out of 5 risk for severe storms. All right, look, the entire area, though, is really under this risk. Maybe just a little bit more juice in the atmosphere up to the north, but not much more. Visible satellite imagery, again, will show the story of this developing low. Our high-resolution visible satellite imagery, watch that blow up. Watch the clearing near the center. Still more mid-level base than anything. Notice that through today, it has sunk south and west, beginning to stall out a bit. Most of the models that I looked at before I came on didn't have it going much farther south than this. The problem is that there's been pretty good development ultimately compared to what a lot of the models showed would be happening this afternoon, right? So this is looking a little bit more impressive right now than what most of the models had. The other problem is that now time over water may not be a big hindrance to this system. It's already developing. It's off of the coast. Most of the models have it going north and then north and west rather than going north and east back over land. So if this can pull more this fashion, it stays over the open waters of the Eastern Gulf throughout its entire time. That's the scenario to make it a stronger storm. Now, I'm not saying it's going to get anything more than maybe a weak tropical storm, but that's the scenario that the European models, both the AI and the normal ensemble members, were picking up on yesterday as far as potential development and pushing it a little bit farther off towards the west. Okay, we'll see how that plays out. Ultimately, for our area, a lot of it is going to be the wet weather that it will continue to bring and driving in the potential for really squally conditions with the winds and the rotating storms. Remember, these storms are just going to continue to rotate across this entire area around that area of low pressure. So inherent rotation always equals the opportunity for strong to severe storms and the potential for brief funnel clouds, water spouts, and tornadoes. Again, live look to our cameras right now. Yeah, everything's moving off towards the north and to the west, guys. I can show you real quickly by going to this mode where you guys can see the arrows. It's so hard though, but when I zoom in, if you guys can see these polygons, that's the direction of the cells. Pretty much everything is moving in a west or a north or west fashion. Some of the storms are building north. Some of the storms are just erratic right now. But generally speaking, it's more of a westerly push. Something from Crystal. Did I miss something? Give me 1 second here. Yeah, there we go. Thank you, guys. Crystal Dana with a $4.99 super stickers. That's why I didn't see it, because those super stickers. Thank you very much, Crystal. Let's get the hearts out in chat for Crystal for the $4.99 super stickers. Appreciate Fox Echo for the $10 super. Thanks. $2 Shadow Frequency, and Just Nautilus with the 1 gifted membership as well. Again, memberships are open here on the channel. That is the join button if you want to become a member and support the channel in that way. Got a question here from Crystal because of the super chat. Happy to answer the question. Anybody in the Weeki Wachee area that thinks we might get some flooding today? Should I be picking things up off of the ground? Look, it's a great question. Here's what I would say overall, Crystal, for Weeki Wachee at this point in time. The heaviest of the storms is beginning to move off of the coast. If you live in Weeki Wachee, you should start to see some improving conditions now in the shorter term. The problem is that there is no way that I can tell you that you are done with the heavy rains even through today, and certainly the opportunity for additional flooding rains tomorrow and Sunday that far towards the west coast. My suggestion would be, if you're concerned about some flooding in your property, and you know your property better than I do, right? You know the areas that flood, you know if you're in a low-lying area. If it's a simple thing to do, I would be taking those steps. Absolutely. Why not, right? If you need to protect yourself from any flooding, I would be doing some of that in that area. Again, I appreciate your super stickers, and I'm happy to answer your question. Thank you so much. Trying to get a little bit better conditions in Homosassa Springs as those storms are pushing out from Pork Chop. Storms coming in from Port Orange from the south and west. Check out any local storm reports. Make sure we keep up with that. All right, so 47-mile-an-hour wind in Crystal River at 3:41. That's from the Marine Science Station, which as a kid, we would go there every year. I actually know the director of the Marine Science Center. So again, that's Gulf to Lake Trail. Right there off of 44. It takes you all the way to the Gulf. Marshy land, 47-mile-an-hour winds there. But it gives you an idea of what some of those thunderstorms were producing. They're off of Citrus County. They have gone severe with this storm. That's going to be getting into the southeast sides of Alachua County. Melrose, Hawthorne, Orange Springs, Rochelle, Grove Park, some of those areas. If you do live in eastern Alachua County, keep that in mind. Several of our special weather statements, the ones along the west coast, are going to be expiring right now at 4:15. They might reissue for northern Citrus and Levy counties because there's still a good chunk of that storm that's still on shore. They might actually just come together with the storm that's severe in eastern Alachua County and then allow everything else south of there to expire as all the activity is moving off to the south. Make sure I get the lightning data back on. They did reissue special weather statements up to the northern side of Lake County. Go back over to the Melbourne radar to look at those. 40-mile-an-hour winds with the new one, so potentially this one weakening just a little bit as it pushes off north and west. At this point in time, no larger population centers kind of within the cone of the worst weather, but eventually this could sneak back into eastern Marion County and make a run towards Silver Springs and Ocala. Again, moderate rain right now, the villages in Wildwood, but certainly the weather coming down a bit. Thunderstorms are not special weather statement, but have become more numerous. Eastern Orange, back through portions of Brevard County, and they've built all the way back down towards the Melbourne radar site right now. And that's why it looks a little bit squirrely just in that zone. Sea breeze is still here. A couple of thunderstorms in the western side of Indian River County. Okay. Few things to talk about here. How about a 999 super thanks from Life with Donnie from Titusville? Thank you for all you do. Let's get the hearts out in chat for Life with Donnie. And I hope I'm saying that right. If I'm not, let me know. But thank you so much for that. The 999 super thanks is quite appreciative. Looks like Lady Rose also jumped in with 5 gifted memberships. 5 gifted memberships from Lady Rose CW. Let's get the hearts out for Lady Rose. 5 of you guys are now members of CFLW. Welcome to the Storm Squad. That's what we call ourselves here, the members of the channel. Again, if you got one of those gifted memberships, you get access to exclusive member custom badges and emojis during our live streams. Your name will be green. You will also get access, that's an easy thing for me to say, I always screw that up, to exclusive member short videos, all right? So again, live only channel. I'm only on when there's impactful weather in Central Florida, but if you are a member of the channel, I do make short member videos to give you guys my behind the scenes thoughts, what I'm thinking. I made those the last 2 days. So if you're members of the channel, make sure you check those out. And again, appreciate everything for the hearts as well. Thanks, guys. Appreciate your support of the channel. The Unknown Lion Fan, Granny C, Kathy, Colleen, Farah. Hey, Farah, you got one too. That's awesome. Farah, one of our moderators of the channel, now a member as well. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Very kind of all of you. Again, while you're here, thanks for taking a quick second, hitting that like button and subscribing for me as well. Going to take a look at our live camera network here in Central Florida. Still some squirrely areas to monitor. Like here's just an interesting view from Southeast Sand Lake. There's not a ton of precipitation with anything in the southern side of Orange County at this point in time, but that is just a gnarly looking storm right now. I mean, just that turbulence in the sky, the twist out there, the lower bases to everything. Everything is just so agitated right now. Certainly a interesting scenario through a lot of the area. We can see the thunderstorms that are pushing off of the west coast from this camera in Winter Garden. It is looking off towards the west. Again, right now it's quieted down a bit in Orange County, but you get the idea there as well. And from our Conway camera, we can see some of the storms in the distance here that are back over portions of Brevard County as well. Please remember that CFLW is sponsored by the Lien Law Firm of Central Florida, your hometown homeowners insurance attorneys. They offer free consultation and policy reviews, so if you do get storm damage, they're a great resource. You get into that insurance claim process and it can be a headache. With the free consultation and policy reviews, you got nothing to lose. If you want to support someone who supports the channel, reach out to Bobby Lean and the team. You can scan that QR code or go to leanonmelaw.com if you would like more information. If you would like to become a sponsor of the channel, either sponsor the channel itself or sponsor one of our cameras, you can reach out to us by scanning the QR code on the top left-hand side of your screen. Let's talk about that as well. Again, we continue to expand the camera network here at CFLW, and if you want to be a part of the good things happening here on the channel, reach out to me and we can certainly have a conversation if you'd like to be interested in a sponsorship, if you own a business here in Central Florida and you want to become a part of the channel. Okay, friends, I'm going to take a quick break. I'm going to throw our situation here into a nice little playlist for you guys, so we'll keep you entertained for 1 second, and I'll be back in just a second here with more coverage. Again, we are in a marathon. We are not in a sprint. We'll reset things in a couple of minutes and go from there and see how these storms are developing across Central Florida. Take a quick break. I'll be right back. Okay, guys, I should be back. Let me just check one something real quick. Ooh, see that screwed up my. Oh, never mind. I hit the wrong one. I'm going to just test something real quick here. I should still be able to disappear if I hit this button. There you go. Now you see me, now we don't. Okay, we're back. How's everyone doing? Let's do a heat check. 426. Again, if you're just tuning in, impressive storms with our developing area of low pressure off of the southwest coast of Florida. Potentially going to end up becoming tropical in nature. Now, at this point in time, it's more mid-level than anything else, but could it become a low-level center and become a depression or a storm? It's not out of the question. Regardless, it's already bringing impacts to Central Florida. This is what we're already seeing right now. If I zoom out and show you the Tampa radar, and again, I have access to all the different radars here in Florida and across the entire country, we can see that spin. It's located right there, all right? Now, at this point, it's just a mid-level spin, but it looks very impressive already. And the opportunity for flooding, rains, strong and severe storms to be with our area through the weekend is not only not out of the question, it's probably a likely scenario based on everything. I just took a quick second when I was off camera just to go back over and double check the Hurricane Center, double check a couple of things that I look at off screen, and nothing has really changed, all right? Where, again, we have this 30% chance for the Hurricane Center of this developing. There's your spin here. Stalling out. It's actually drifted south and west today, but you notice the line for the Hurricane Center is back north and northwest. So again, paralleling our coast in a slow fashion, maybe bending back west in the northern Gulf over the weekend, but it's going to take some time to do so. It's going to keep our entire area on the eastern, dirty, moisture-laden flow side of that counterclockwise spin, where from time to time, heavy showers and thunderstorms, gusty winds, and flooding rains will accompany this. It's not a scenario outside of the immediate west coast where we're likely to be stuck in these storms in a consistent basis. But waves, squalls of potent showers and storms are likely over at least the next 24, if not 48 hours. And by the time it's all said and done, we're likely to have some spots well over a half foot of rain. At this point in time, things have quieted down a little bit from the Metro Orlando area south. Even the rain in Hillsborough and Pinellas counties is a little bit more moderate than anything. There are some thunderstorms right now in the eastern sides of Orange County that are redeveloping, but they've thinned out a bit too. So you'll see some lightning right now for UCF and Avalon Park and Wedgefield and Chuliotta. Following this back down towards Brevard County, including Port St. John, Sharps, Cocoa, Rockledge, Melbourne areas. No special weather statements right now. Special marine warning is going to expire in the next minute here. Where the biggest cluster of thunderstorms have actually concentrated over the last half hour have been in our northern areas. We have numerous special weather statements that are in effect. These two are going to be going away, replaced by one that's going to be going into Putnam County. Anywhere that you guys see this green triangle would be the opportunity for some hail, and that's what my radar is pointing up there. So we got to watch out for some hail potential there. We do have a severe thunderstorm warning out of Marion County and moving into the southeast sides of Alachua County in the Gainesville area. Bracketed around that is a special weather statement. That special weather statement is going to be going away in about 18 seconds. New severe thunderstorm warning here. Remember, I mentioned this just before I took that break, that they are likely weren't going to extend the special weather statement from central Citrus County south because the majority of the severe storm or the special weather statement storm is offshore. So they use special marine warnings for the nearshore and offshore waters. But that north of there, the storms were still over land, and that was likely going to be a special weather statement, and that's what's happened. They've issued a special weather statement there, pretty large area, for the next, 45 minutes until 5:15. Storm motion northwest at 44 miles an hour. It is going to take zip for this storm to produce 50-mile-an-hour winds. If it's moving at 45 miles an hour, inherently it's going to be producing some winds in excess of 50. So you got to watch out for that. Places like Wilson, Chiefland, Bronson, Beverly Hills, the Black Diamond area, Inglis, Crystal Manor, Citrus Springs, Manatee State Park, places like that. Again, tremendous amount of lightning. 2,500 lightning strikes in this view in the past 15 minutes. It's an absolutely gorge of lightning right now. This storm over the Hawthorne area is absolutely brutal as well. 2,000 lightning strikes in 15 minutes here. Nasty storm. Melrose, Hawthorne, Orange Springs, Rochelle, the Grove Park area, amongst others. Looks like they've kind of made this one a two-parter, as we've mentioned here. 55-mile-an-hour winds, so we're brushing severe thunderstorm criteria there. And then all the special marine warnings offshore. If we look at the visible satellite imagery, that's what it looks like over the last 6 hours. All right. Nice clearing out of that mid-level spin. Still not ultimately surface-based, at least as of yet, but it's trying to get there. And it's looking more impressive than what I would have expected it and anticipated it based off the model data by this afternoon. Was really thinking that tomorrow would be the ramp-up day. Hey, Larry, how you doing, pal? Michael wants to know, is this better than the local station? I will let him decide, and you guys can tell him. Granny C thinks so. I appreciate that. Well, here's what I'll say. It's definitely different because this is real-time interaction with me, certified meteorologist, 25 years of television experience, but doing the digital side now, from Florida as well, born and raised, covering the local weather for you guys, where we can interact in real time via the chat and come together as a weather community and work through this storm together. That's what I love about that. That's what's different than watching this on another channel. And there's no geographic boundaries. Cover wherever I want, as long as I want as well. Dr. Checkmate asks, is this a drought buster? For a lot of folks, I think we're going to be close. At least knocking down the drought a category or two. We still have a lot of rain to make up. And remember, too much rain in too short of amount of time to get more runoff rather than the nice soaking rains. But if we can get, waves of a couple of inches here and there the next few days, that's the best thing for us to limit the flood threat and to get a lot of that in the water table as well. But I mean, obviously this is going to help. Absolutely. I do get compared from time to time for Matt Damon. I would say, based on what he looks like doing the Odyssey right now, I would be the fat Matt Damon, or the pleasantly plump Matt Damon relative to what he looks like right now in the Odyssey. Had I known that he was going to be doing the Odyssey and I needed to stay up with him, I would have changed my my exercise routine over the last year. Phil's in the house from Southwest Florida. Appreciate you, Phil, tuning in. Thanks for letting me know. And again, guys, look, your interaction and you throwing in the chat a question, a comment, let me know what's happening in your area. It helps everyone out. It helps me out with real-time ground truth information. Anyone who's watching this channel wants that information. And so thanks for taking a second and passing it along. I can't thank you guys enough who are active in the chat. Obviously, I appreciate everyone who watches the channel. It helps everything out. But for those who take that extra step and jump into the chat, thank you very much. For those who are moderators of the chat and members as well, certainly awesome. Everything is moving from east to west right now for the most part. So if I put this into motion, and I'm just going to take the lightning off so it's a little bit easier to see because there's so many lightning strikes, you will see that your motion is generally east to west. A bit of a north build bit of a north build, everything from east to west though, okay? Remember, let's do this. And I'm sure friend of the channel who has helped me is going to love when I go to the telestrate mode here. All right, stand by. We can do a lot of different things. If you guys remember when I was remote at the beach, we had to go live. So now that's the thing. So I hit radar and it's not there. So I guess it's a different button. This is what I thought I was doing wrong. All right, hang on a second. I don't want to hype this up and then not do it. Let's go here. What? All right, we got to work on that. I thought I was doing it right. Yeah, it doesn't matter which one I'm on. All right. Well, anyway, I was trying to do, we have like a couple of different ways to telestrate on the channel, and I was trying to use the new way. It worked actually when I was at the remote site. We'll get it working again. It's probably something I'm doing wrong. But I do have another way to telestrate, and that's just directly on my system. So I want to do that real quick. Right? Area of low pressure. How do winds spin around an area of low pressure? In a counterclockwise fashion, okay? So we are on the northeast side of this spinning low. So everything is going to move from east to west. Even as this low trickles north like this, we're still going to be on the east side. So everything is going to be coming out of the south or southeast. That's why it's going to be so darn wet. Remember, on this side, you're going to have drier north winds. So when a hurricane, remember Matthew from I think like 2018? Remember when Matthew tracked right along the east coast? There was hardly any rain in Central Florida because there was such a sharp gradient cutoff of all of the moisture on the west side. But we're on the east side and everything is flowing over our area in waves, pulses of energy coming in. So that's why, regardless of whether this ends up becoming a tropical depression or a tropical storm or anything like that, that's why we're going to continue to just get all of this energy, because everything is just spiraling in with these southerly and easterly moisture-laden winds, okay? And there's a ton of lift in the atmosphere in association with this area of low pressure as well. So we are on the most impactful side of this storm, and we will be as well. This storm now is not likely to do this. Remember, that was a scenario where it would come up and then bend back off of our east coast. That would have nudged us into some drier northerly winds eventually. If this thing here, clear it one more time for you guys. If this low, regardless of development, does this motion, we just stay on the east side and get pumped in with moisture-laden east to southeast winds the entire time. 2-3 days worth, especially along the immediate west coast. That's the real bullseye for that flood threat that could be significant in some spots. And remember, this is a cumulative impact. There could be some flash flooding on a daily basis with strong storms over one area, but there could be additional, more widespread flood problems with the cumulative impacts of multiple rounds of storms over the weekend as well. Kind of a two-pronged approach, unfortunately, to flood threat that we're going to get. And any of those storms could produce, again, 60+ mile-an-hour winds, spinning storms, inherent rotation, brief tornadoes, water spouts, funnel clouds, not out of the question, and maybe even some significant hail as well. Ocala is in the house. Granny asks, could it be a tropical thing? Absolutely. Starting to hear thunder again at Apopka. Is a storm building in from the north or moving west? It's all moving basically to the west, but additional thunderstorms are, building in as well. Not a clean forecast, a very dynamic forecast. These thunderstorms are pulsing up and producing some active weather. Now, what could end up happening here as we push deeper into the late afternoon hours is that things could quiet down a bit through our area, and then the next wave of storms develop to the south and begin to work its way back into the area. So we have plenty of ways to cover the storms for you the entire time, and I'll talk more about that coming up. But, you know, there is not going to be like this persistent, just getting rattled by storms 24/7 the next 3 days. It's likely to come in waves. And we had the first significant wave moving through as we speak. A little bit thinner now in Orange and Brevard and Osceola and Polk counties and Hillsborough County. Still pretty strong though up north, Citrus and Levy, Marion counties as well. Again, we still have one severe thunderstorm up here near the Hawthorne area. That's the east side of Alachua County. That's 20 out of Gainesville. There's 301. You can take 301 back into Ocala, if you guys know that area. But again, the amount of lightning being produced out of this is still quite copious. You know, even the Winter Garden camera's got a little bit more ominous looking to a sky. Again, you can still see the texture even to the lower bases to those clouds. Just a lot of inherent lift in the atmosphere. It's been relatively quiet in Orange County though over the last hour. That's what it looks like out of Conway right now as well. And for those with any interest in the attractions area, live look outside the Lake Buena Vista. Magic Kingdom is basically behind that stand of trees from this shot. We're 1 mile from the Disney property from this location. So always have a great eye, great viewpoint for places like the Magic Kingdom and Epcot and other areas where there could be some significant storms. So we'll be monitoring the situation there. And of course, our Epic Cam, let me bring that up. If you guys are new to the channel, this one is going to be overlooking, whoops, hit button twice. This one actually overlooks the new Epic Universe, the new Universal theme park. We can actually see the fireworks from Epic Universe from this camera. So again, that's Sand Lake looking south and east from that area of the southern side of the Metro Orlando area. Let's check out where we might have had some significant rain. Yeah, this is interesting too. Can always do some interesting querying of gusts and stuff. When we're in this continuing coverage, sometimes I like to play around a little bit and show you guys things you normally don't see. So some of this is some analysis tools that I look at from time to time. But nothing too outrageous here. If you guys know what CAPE is, it's basically lift in the atmosphere. There's a tremendous amount near that low pressure in other areas too. It's just a very turbulent environment here. What I wanted to do was bring back on, again, the amount of rain that has likely fallen. Again, you're looking at here, this is going to be radar estimated rainfall totals over the last 12 hours. So you can see down here in portions of southern Pinellas and sneaking into the far western sides of Hillsborough County, the potential for some significant rain here. Again, it's all radar estimated, but we might have had a bullseye of around 5 inches of rain in portions of Pinellas County. Even Ruskin area here could have had about 4.5. Carrollwood, maybe about 3. Land Lakes, there's your Spring Hill. Again, this is right up, this is probably about true. Remember, it was raining at 6 inches an hour. The storm was moving at 30 miles an hour. You'd expect about half of that hourly rate in the spot. And we got about 3 inches there. Maybe Brooksville got to 4. Sugar Mill Woods got the 3. If you live in those areas, let me know. Even Polk County, we've had some good rain earlier. Some of western Orange County got hit pretty good towards the Lake County line. But if I zoom out, if you guys see what the 12-hour rainfall totals look like, I think this is a very good precursor of the rest of the weekend, right? Where your most widespread heavy rain is along the West Coast. Pockets of heavy potential flooding rains in interior sections and more sparse out east. It doesn't mean we're not going to get some flooding rains, some impactful weather along the East Coast, maybe even a water spout or a brief tornado along I-95, US 1 and A1A. It's just that it's not going to be as consistent and persistent as areas west. A general thought would be the farther west that you live, the more likely you are to continue to have more consistent impacts from these storms. And certainly today's rainfall totals have borne that out. And that would include the West Coast all the way back down to Naples. So if you are viewing us in our southwest areas like Port Charlotte, Fort Myers, Cape Coral, in the Naples area, we say good afternoon to you, our friends down there. And then areas up to the north towards the Nature Coast too.